I've been wanting to make a video about National Youth Theatre for a while now, but it always felt slightly like tempting fate. But now that I've handed in my acceptance form and I've got all my fees paid, I feel it's alright to talk about since it's 99.9% certain that I'm going to be on the summer course for 2014. I thought I'd make a video about things to watch out for and things that will help you have a good audition. I can't guarantee getting a place, no one can, but yeah, I thought I'd make a short video about advice on practice and process, because that's all it is really, practice and process. The first thing I want to talk about is picking a speech. That is the start of your process. It's where you begin because it's what you're going to be talking or performing rather for 2 minutes in front of those complete strangers. So that is your starting point, it's your way in. It sounds like the most obvious thing in the world, but pick something you know and pick something you understand. If you just kind of scoop a monologue out of context, it doesn't make any sense. You need to understand why that character is doing and saying what they're doing and saying at that particular point for it to make sense, for your performance to make sense, because with this monologue you need to kind of convey the sense of the entire play in those 2 minutes. I myself chose Mrs. Erlen's speech from Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar Wilde. I did it at A-level, so I know it from back to front really. I know it very well. And that made the speech a lot easier to learn because I kind of understood the rhythms of it already. I remembered a lot of it from, just the kind of backwaters of my brain and A-level revision. Yeah, that's just pretty obvious advice, but I think it's something that a lot of people forget. You need to know what you're performing. Make sure it's not something that's going to get you confused and something that plays up to your strengths. I almost picked a monologue from A Midsummer Night's Dream just because I was in a production of it at the same time as my audition. But I knew I'd get confused because I wasn't playing Helen, I was playing Titania. So I decided against that completely. I didn't want to get mixed up and suddenly start saying Titania lines in the audition and start saying Helen lines on stage. I just thought I'll do something completely divorced from what I'm doing at the moment and focus on that. And with playing to your strengths, in that regard, I knew from a friend of mine who auditioned that I would be one of the older people there. It is an audition for 16 to 21 year olds, I believe, because that's the kind of age boundary for National Youth Theatre. Or is it 15 to 21? It's about that. And you go in and a lot of people are a lot younger than you. I found another 20-year-old and we were just like the old biddies of the group. And it took me a moment to realize why the instructors and the group leaders were saying, be careful, don't walk around by yourselves. I was really confused. I was like, I'm 21, like I know how to cross the road and stuff. But then I remembered that like a lot of them are 15, 16, and a lot of them might not have gone to strange places by themselves. I certainly hadn't at age 15. So pick something that plays to your strengths. If you know you're going to be one of the oldest in the group, maybe pick something that kind of subconsciously reminds your group leaders, instructors, whatever, of that fact and play with it rather than kind of go against it. I did pick Mrs. Allen because she was older. She's one of the older characters in that play, and I just think it's a really kind of interesting, poignant speech, and especially it's about age and disgrace and womanhood and stuff. I thought that was a really interesting speech to do, and I thought it'd be really cool. And being one of the older people, because I was 21 when I auditioned, so yeah, I just thought it would be a cool way of just playing up that and not being afraid or ashamed of it at all. The second thing I think is a really important bit is to make yourself as neutral as possible. Obviously you want your own personality and your own kind of va-va-voom to shine through, but this is not the time to show off, that new piercing or tattoo or like that wild color in your hair. I myself am totally guilty of that. I'm not gonna kind of, say I was this perfect audition-y and I did all the advice that I'm giving you now. I went in with a tongue piercing, and but because I have had a lot of practice disguising it, talking around it, it wasn't noticeable until I sat down and she asked me to do my monologue again, that she realised that, hey, you've got a tongue piercing. And she said, you know, it looks nice, it's cute, but it's like an athlete piercing their thigh. You're piercing your best muscle. And you know, I totally get it. I do miss my tongue piercing, but I don't think your aesthetic is worth throwing away a chance at National Youth Theatre. That's that piece of advice, basically. So yeah, I just wore, you know, a kind of a blue skater skirt, similar to the one I'm wearing now. Boots, t-shirt. So it was very me, because I like boots and I like skirts and I like punny t-shirts, but I didn't try and, you know, do anything wild or make myself memorable. Like, you are going to be memorable because you're talented and cool. You don't need to kind of resort to wild makeup or, you know, dressing up excessively. And on a note of dressing up, make sure you're wearing comfortable clothes anyway, because there'll be a lot of group work, a lot of running around and getting loose. As with any kind of drama activity, there's lots of games, lots of running around, lots of getting close. So make sure you're wearing comfortable clothing. I mean, you want to be remembered because of your talent, not because you decided to wear 2-inch kitten heels to a National Youth Theatre audition. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. I kind of wish I'd taken my entire academic career as seriously as I took this audition, because I honestly would have done so well. Like, I did do pretty damn well, let's not lie, but I think I could have, like, soared for the stars if I decided to take school and uni as seriously as I took, you know, drama, really, if we're being honest. Know your speech. Again, sounds really obvious, but you need to know it. You need to know it. You need to know the words. You need to know how you're going to say it. You need to know the words so well that if and when they ask you to do it again in a different way, you don't stumble. You need to be flexible. You need to, because what it is, it's like you're coming in as a kind of raw talent. They want to see what you can do. They want to see whether you can change it up, take direction. So learning a speech in such a specific way that you can't do it in another is not very helpful. So learn your speech, know it off by heart, know it like the back of your hand, know it in your sleep, know it in the bath, know it wherever. So know your speech, know it. I mean, obvious advice, but kind of stuff like that is stuff that people forget a lot, I think, and it bears repetition. Know your damn speech. I am very, very good with kind of rote memory things and memorizing words and stuff. I don't know why, that's just the kind of brain I have, so I didn't have much trouble with it. I learned it about a week and a half before my audition. Had it down in like 3 days, but I knew I wanted to give myself the time. So I took that kind of week and a half and learned it. I'd recite it in the bath. I'd recite it while brushing my teeth. I'd recite it walking down the stairs to go to the front door. I'd sort of have a panicky thought about National Youth Theatre, recite it, know it. I would recite it into my iPod and then make a recording of it and listen to it as I was walking up, like, okay, so this is how I say this. What's it sound like if I say it another way? Know your speech. Yeah, if you know you're someone who struggles with memorizing words or rote memorization, learn it like a month before. And get an audience. You're going to be watched. People forget that you're going to be watched by someone. It's not just you in a room saying it. You're going to perform to an audience. So get someone who knows their shit about drama, about theatre, and have them help you. I cannot thank my friend Lizzie enough. She is an actress. We went to uni together, and she helped me hone my monologue. She helped me with movement. She helped me with pitch, with tone, with pace. Everything you could hope someone would pick up on, she did. She's fantastic, and I recommend you get someone who knows what they're talking about when it comes to drama to look over what you're doing, what you're saying, look over your decision as well. Because I explained my thought process about Mrs. Arlen to Lizzie, and she got it. Like, she thought it made sense because it did. Get someone in and get used to having people watch you really critically, because it's not the same as an audience who, you know, come and pay and see you like, oh, you're really good, I really loved you in this. They're criticizing you, and not in a bad way. It's meant to be a really kind of constructive criticism, and it's meant to help you, but they will be watching for things that you might do wrong, that you might not know about. So get used to having a critical eye cast over what you're doing and having someone look that intensely at you, because it is a very different experience. If you are someone who is used to being on stage, it's not quite the same. Auditions, I mean, you should know that then. Auditions and performing on stage are not quite the same thing. And people forget, people panic, that's totally okay. But just remember to breathe, stay hydrated, and you'll be fine. When you're actually there, be nice to people, talk, smile, have lunch with other people. Don't stray too far. Be on time for your monologue. I know that happens. Be on time. Be at least like half an hour. Be back in the building where they're having it at least half an hour before. You'll have time to get another bottle of water, go to the toilet, settle yourself, go through your monologue yet again, and just center yourself, not be too nervous about it. You don't want to be rushing in 5 minutes before like a headless chicken. That doesn't do anybody any favors, least of all yourself. Take a good lunch or buy a good lunch, because you don't want to be groaning in the audition room. That's awful. It's a really big, well, it was a really big space when I was there. So if my stomach had rumbled, you would have been able to hear it at the back wall, at the front wall, and it would have echoed. So make sure you eat a good lunch. Stay hydrated, because your voice is it's one of your biggest tools, and if you don't keep it hydrated, then it crackles and it sounds really terrible. Don't be mean or cruel. They notice how you interact with other people, so don't be a douchebag is what I'm saying, because I was so surprised when the lady auditioning me picked up on how focused I am on getting it right. That tends to be one of my downfalls when it comes to drama, actually. I'm not afraid of taking risks, but I'm very big on getting it right. I do like to do it right. And that's good, but you can't always get it right. That's why you have to take risks. Sometimes they fail, and that's totally okay. That's what art is about. But she really picked up on that. She's like, you were so serious. You're so focused on like getting it right and doing it right. And I was really surprised, because I didn't think in a room full of that many people, that small personality quirk of mine would have been that noticeable, but it was. So make sure you're not cruel to other people, or that you're not mean, and that you just make friends and like smile and like, you're nice to people. I didn't see any meanness or cruelty much that when I was there, but yeah, some interesting interactions. People show themselves, I think, under pressure, and they will notice. Just be good to each other, be good to yourself, prepare. That's the word. If you take anything from this video, what I will say is prepare. Go forth, audition, be perfect, as Bottom would say.